Yes, sex is great, but what's an equally enjoyable sensation? When your joke makes the whole room laugh. This is it for me. I almost always go for the joke. One step higher is when people bring up the joke when reminiscing. Those moments with your friends where just can't stop laughing and you almost run out of breath. You're laughing so hard and long that you start laughing at everybody laughing. Then you laugh at everybody laughing at everybody laughing. AWW man. Laughing feels so good. Drinking water when you're thirsty as fuck after working outside on a hot day, especially when it's at just the right temperature to avoid brain freeze. It just goes down and quenches you. You can feel it cooling your insides. It's awesome. I once slowly went somewhat deaf in one ear, over the course of a month or two. Finally went into the doctor to see what was up, and it turned out I had a massive chunk of earwax sealing the entire base of my ear canal. I proceeded to have a nurse somewhat painfully earfuck me with one of those small pressure washers like they use at the dentists. While I laid on my side and made small talk, chunks and gunk kept coming out, but Age couldn't get the whole thing dislodged until she poured some pink medical grade anal lubricant in there to loosen thing up. Finally got it dislodged, and holy shit, let me tell you, you've never felt a post-clean deal like that. It was so sensitive to sound I could hear a fly fart in my neighbor's attic for days afterwards, until it returned to normal. Wouldn't recommend or do again, but despite the pain, it remains the ultimate ear cleaning I've ever experienced. Pretty sure my ear reached nirvana and left me behind. The prick. In Egypt, I had to walk quite a way across a desert. At the end we arrived at a restaurant. Dry and gasping, they provided us with ice cold cans of Coke. Literally half of the can was lightly frozen. Amazing. Still think about that drink. On a trip to Boston once, we were freezing waiting for a bus that never showed up. I finally told my BF fuck it, let's get some food. We walked into a wonderful warm pub that smelled of steak cooking and had a fireplace we could sit next to. I'll never forget how great that felt, taking off my gloves and warming my frozen hands by the fire. Yes, sex is great, but have you ever had a partner in a relationship that didn't lie to you about other people or take out their insecurities on you on a daily basis to the point that the relationship ends up collapsing as they slowly whittle away at your patience? I sure haven't, but I imagine this trumps sex by far. I just posted about this in another thread about a time when you should have died but didn't. I crashed my car into the water during a snowstorm and almost died of hypothermia. When I got to the hospital half frozen, they stripped off my clothes and put me in this aluminum foil-like bag and then inflated it with warm air. Holy shit. I can't even explain how that felt, but trust me, it was quite nice. Have you ever been on a really long car ride, like 10 hours plus? You stop to get Chipotle for lunch because why not eat a baby elephant of a burrito? 6 hours later your guts start dancing. First a light gentle ballet, but then they're doing the can on your rectum. You pull over to some questionable gas station off the highway, not even sure of what state you're currently driving through. You find out that they don't have a bathroom in this rundown secluded gas station but a porto shitter around the back. You take your seat on this plastic throne, suspending yourself, asshole first, over a frozen pile of shit before adding your own steamy contribution. That feeling of relief, of massive logs being expelled from your body, is better than anything else on this earth. Peaking on MDMA with your best friends at a rave. The sense of love and community is so strong.
Epiphanies, when you've been struggling to solve a complex problem and suddenly it hits you, like a ton of bricks, you rush to get it out, onto paper, while it's still there, and it works. It fucking works. There is no better feeling in the world, and I'm saying that as someone who's lived a lifetime of hedonistic excess.
I did acid for the first time 3 months ago. Me and a couple of friends did 150 and had a great time. Felt very similar to MDMA with some added visuals. I decided I wanted to try a slightly higher dose by myself and did 250 alone. It was one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. The visuals were much more intense. But honestly, the visuals didn't matter. The introspection, the way I was thinking and reflecting on both my life and life in general was so beautiful. Every realization I came to, I've probably thought of before, but it was like I could see the whole picture. Everything that I previously only could understand in the abstract now seemed intuitive. That was over a month ago and I still feel like a better version of myself. Psychedelics probably isn't for everyone, and they should be treated with great respect, but the fact that they are illegal is a great injustice. If you feel like you could use a trip and treat them with the respect they deserve, they can change your life. This is gonna sound super sappy, but the last girl I dated was super physical, not just sexual, and the first night she stayed over we slept on our sides facing each other and fell asleep with our arms interlocked. I remember waking up and just thinking how awesome it was, and when we were anywhere, coffee shop, grocery store, we were always close up next to each other. I know that it was just the new relationship phase and would have inevitably faded over time, but while it was going on it was amazing. I've been on some really long camping trips where we need to carry our food for 2 to 3 weeks. As you can imagine, things don't last outside of the refrigerator for very long. We took things like pasta, rice and something called TVP, texture vegetable protein. The first time I did such a trip it was 3 weeks of canoeing and portaging, moving from one body of water to the next. We did 200 kilometers of paddling and we were disgusted at the thought of having to eat more TVP. Well, the first thing we did when we got back to civilization was to get the greasiest burger we could find. My toes curled at this. Riding a motorcycle and hitting a nice deep turn perfectly, not even going all the way down. Just everything being perfectly in balance and in sync for that brief moment. Not just physically with you the bike and the road, but mentally too. In that instance, only the moment matters. Everything else is a million miles away. Realizing how delicate the situation is and how the tiniest of movements alter your situation drastically, and just floating suspended for that fleeting moment. It's early Saturday morning, probably 7:48 AM. The sun hasn't peeked through the blanket of grey clouds, giving that dim light feeling. Light enough where you know it's morning, but not dark enough where it feels like a bad storm. It's lightly raining, and the house is warm. There's no schoolwork to catch up on. No other work you have to do, it's just you and free time for a few hours. You read a book, or play some video games. It's like the entire world has stood still, and you can piss around for a little bit without worry of responsibility. I feel kinda dumb admitting this, but drugs. I don't drink, don't smoke, haven't done any drugs besides coffee, sugar, the occasional drink at a wedding or a birthday, and I mean just the one, and some pot in my youth. I was having a really bad run with depression, finances, someone in my workplace treating me like dirt, medical issues with my back. You get the picture. Needless to say, I was pretty down. Anyway, a friend of mine is a regular stoner and he always offers for me to smoke pot with him when we hang out, and I usually say no. Needless to say, the last time we hung out I smoked probably a lot more pot than was necessary, and about 2 hours into a BBC documentary on beavers I opened up a packet of lollies and put the first one in my mouth. Suddenly my mouth exploded with flavor. The texture of the sugar on the outside of the lolly, its soft squishy sensation of sinking into my teeth, the sweet initial taste, then the warm flavor that followed. I was teleported back in time 15 years to eating them as a kid. Memories of walking to my local corner store and buying a paper bag full of them and sitting on the curb sharing them with my chums. Memories I hadn't thought about for decades washed over me that were so vivid I can remember the smells and sounds, and in those few seconds of devouring that first piece of confectionery, my brain probably released more good feeling than I'd felt in the months.